Okay, we are unmuted.
Today is January 4th, 2024, and this is the Board of Accountancy's Complaints Committee. We are reconvening from executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660, Prem 2, Prem F, and Prem H. The time is now 11:40. Moving on in our agenda, we are going to move on to item 4A. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, in the matter of agency case 23-025, I make a motion for a finding of insufficient evidence that there was a violation of one or more board rules and/or statutes.
I second the motion, Adam Applenow.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All those not in favor? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, Scott Wright, in the case of agency matter case 23-026, I make a motion for a finding of sufficient evidence of a violation of one or more board rules and/or statutes.
I second the motion, Adam Applenow.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, in agency matter 2023-INQ-021, I make a motion to close that inquiry.
Second, Adam Applenow.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, in agency matter 2023 INQ-039, I make a motion to close that inquiry.
Second, Adam Applenow.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I forgot to, sorry. Any discussion? We have to do this part. Any discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I have no further motions to present.
Moving on to agenda item 5A, new business.
I have a question, perhaps. Given the number of these dealing with lapsed licenses, could the board have some sort of supplementary communication with those people that are in that status to educate them about the practice of public accounting?
We can certainly bring that up with the board in terms of what it is that they would look like. So we can, essentially make that part of the report out. I know we don't have a liaison here, but I will make a note to report that out. And if you are able to attend, then please help me not forget that we can simply say, here's an ask from the committee around additional education with respect to our lapsed folks. I do want to just note, Brad, just on a purely practical level, that regardless of what exactly the board would embrace as additional education or the form of it, one of the things that we run into by definition with lapsed licensees is that some of them don't exactly keep track of giving us updated information. So there isn't really as good of a reliable way of reaching that pool of folks as it is the remainder of our licensee pool. That's just, there's a little bit of a limitation here because we will not necessarily be able to find all of them.
Mm-hmm. I could maybe make another suggestion, which is, I think something that occurs to me is that the definition, we've talked a lot about the definition of public accountancy, it just on its face saying practice of public accountancy, I think can lead some people to draw the wrong conclusion from the very beginning. And they immediately say, I don't work in public accounting industry, I work in private industry, or I work for a nonprofit or the government, and automatically I don't think I'm part of that definition. So you know, I know there's a lot of places where the board communicates that on the forums, on the website, on other places. I wonder if we could be, you know, or if it's worth the board's consideration of, you know, maybe being clearer about the breadth of that definition, the fact that it is a wide net that falls into that definition. I'm not saying that we should not call it the practice of public accountancy, but when we're explaining it to people, I think that despite the fact that it refers to like as defined in the rule, you know, and it has the rule listed there, it still leads people to the wrong conclusion sometimes. And I'm not saying we can solve for the lowest common denominator every single time, but if we can be clearer with, especially, I guess, pointedly with people working in industry for a single employer doing accounting related work, that is part of the definition of public accountancy. And like, if there's a way we can communicate that more broadly and more consistently in our forms and documentation, I do think it's a helpful thing for people to see, because I think people just get misled by the words and immediately rule themselves out without thinking about it anymore.
Adam, I would add to
Oh,
that
yeah.
that the consideration of the risks being addressed by the OARs continue to remain relevant in the board's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms then of coming up with a definition, and Angie, this might be something that you would weigh in on. Could it start off with something saying practice of public accountancy is more than working for a public accounting firm? That's going to catch people's attention right there, and then it can go on all the other detail at the end. But
Mm-hmm.
that's first and foremost. It is more than simply working for a CPA firm.
And that's almost as blunt as I feel like we could be, because that is, I think, the big misleading component of it is with our colleagues who work in industry, that they just simply think that public accounting is public accounting, and that is different from working for industry or government or other places. And yeah, so I think, and I'm not saying that we should rewrite the definition by any means. I think the definition is the way it's good the way it is. And if the board, you know, decides to change that, that's so be it. But it's more about how we communicate that, you know. And I think, like, to your point, Scott, like just right up front saying that it's not just working for a CPA firm or working for a public accounting firm.
When we had org and ethics, 3 of the curriculums that were submitted that we reviewed covered that and gave examples.
But we don't have that anymore, right?
No, the board voted that out.
Yeah. My thing is about making it accessible to people, you know, making it so people can understand at a glance, hey, I need to look into this more, or I don't need to. And I think that's where people are led astray with the way the wording is currently. They just get to that word public accounting and they think this doesn't apply to me. They don't even look at the OAR because they think, oh, well, I obviously don't fit into that. And so I just think we could be maybe a little more instructive in the way we ask those questions to get the right information across to licensees. Because I don't think we want to be catching them, you know, in this, I didn't think it applied to me, but at the same time, you know, licensees have a responsibility to understand the rules that apply to them. And I don't understate that by any means, but I do think like the board can continue to be educational to licensees, especially those in industry who, you know, might not on first glance think that definition applies.
Thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to item number 6A, old business report from the November 2nd, 2023 BOACC meeting. There's nothing that I have on that. We did not receive the supplement, so we will postpone item 6B till the next meeting. Any announcements?
So I have one. So I shared this with Martin and sort of formally submitted my resignation from the committee. This will be my last meeting, not because I don't like you all. I'm going to miss having the reasoned debates with all of you. But I'm going to be stepping into the vice chair role for the Oregon Society of CPAs starting in March. So I don't want to also have any conflict in serving on the board committee at the same time. So maybe I'll be back one day, see some of you one day again.
Congratulations, but sorry to see you go.
Yes, I will
Congrats.
second that, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and just folks, so that you know, I am working with the board chair on additional appointments to the committee. So don't have announcements yet, but I'm working on it. It's on my radar so that you guys don't start feeling lonely.
We appreciate that. So thank you, Adam, for your service on this committee. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
And not to kick a hornet's nest, Adam, I'll miss you. I always enjoyed listening to you talk. Yeah, Angie, I know I sent you the Corporate Transparency Act before we start to see a bunch of these cases in 12 months where CPAs have filed these for clients and we start to get disputes. And I know I sent it to you. I've heard from another CPA that the board for the Board of Accountancy, the chair has said it's a bar issue and the bar has kicked it to the Oregon Supreme Court. Am I understanding all of that right?
So the Oregon Board of Accountancy has no ability to regulate the practice of law or say what is the practice of law, right? We just do what is a CPA can do. So at this point, I mean, we would, like, if somebody were to make a complaint and say this person is practicing law without a license, if we were to get a complaint about that, we would refer it to the bar, is how that would play out.
Okay, because I know I've got, I deal with privately held small businesses. I know eventually in like 4 months, one of my clients is gonna go, can you just fill this out for me? And, so far I'm getting from the Board of Accountancy, I don't want to say just nothing. The bar is giving out nothing. My insurance carrier is Chemico, and they're just like, good luck and God bless. And so it's like, it's between the board and the bar. It's like somebody should be able to say yay or nay on this one and kind of just provide guidance to the entire CPA community kind of up front saying, hey, yes, we can, or no, stay away from it. But it seems like there's this gray area that's going to just kind of, something's going to go wrong. There's going to be that $500 per dollar per day penalty. There's going to be complaints. And it just seems like there's this big gray area of shoulder shrugging of like, nobody knows. Is there a way to kind of prod the board and the bar to just get something together in the next couple months to give us some guidance on this?
Martin, I'll let you.
So, yeah, I'll simply say this, because this issue also came up at the OSCPA, not conference, the professional issues update, the last larger, and this question came up as well. And, at the time, I basically said two things. One was exactly what Angie said, right? We have absolutely no jurisdiction to determine what the unlicensed practice of law is. We would have to refer that over. That said, as with any engagement that a CPA undertakes, right? If a CPA decides to practice in an arena, then the board would have jurisdiction over any applicable standards, rules that apply to that type of work, right? And that's about as far as we can take it on the regulatory side. But I do not think that we will have the ability to opine on unlicensed practice of law questions because we just don't have that statutory authority. The only entity that can really do that and discipline for that, I might add, is the Oregon State Bar.
Right, but that goes back to if I know it's law, I'm not going to do it. But I know if I send it to lawyers, they're going to come back to me and say, this is an accounting function. We don't understand it. And for the small businesses and the small CPA practitioners, it just seems like we're being kind of held out and like said, is like held out to dry, like good luck and don't screw up. And I know it's not a huge issue. I'm sure it's not that hard. I haven't done mine yet, but like I said, is there a way to prod the bar into at least giving us a firm yay or nay?
That's a really good question. I don't know, Angie, if you have any insights in terms of how that committee operates of the bar. I think they have a specific committee, I think, on the unlicensed practice of law. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if you know that, Angie. I mean,
I
we can
don't.
certainly write a letter to them, but I don't know if they will care.
I don't know how they sort of deal with that stuff, and I don't. I mean, I think the board could, ask them to opine on it, just see what they say. But I don't know if there's a specific. I mean, you can obviously just like send it to them in general, or if there is a specific committee, the board could ask for some sort of guidance.
I also know the AICPA in the last town hall, they stated that they are still trying to get this either postponed or taken away from like the CPAs. So I think it's still, it's a national issue.
Oh, yeah, it's a
at this
national
point,
issue,
so,
yes. Coming up everywhere.
Yeah, so I don't know what the board could do at this point.
I think to Greg's point, though, clients are coming to us initially
100%.
and first, and
Yes.
and so by default, even if we say, well, we can't do it, when that penalty hits, we're gonna be the first one blamed. I think that's where the big concern is for the practitioners. Because they see that even though it's in the
Not
bank
penalty from the
secrecy,
board, but penalty from the IRS.
not even the IRS, it's from Vincent.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the Bank Secrecy Act. It's not part of the IRS code.
Okay,
And there's a $500 penalty per day for not complying if they get past the deadlines. And so that's where the big concern is that the clients are gonna come back to us saying, well, this is something you should have done. You needed to have done it.
Yeah, like I said, Cameco, my carrier is Cameco, and they're sending out basically, like I said, good luck letters. If you do this, you have to get a separate engagement letter, a bunch of disclaimers. And my clients are just, I mean, they're country rednecks, they're not that sophisticated. And so, having them sign more documents, they're gonna get confused, and really they're gonna say, Greg, could you just do it for me? I know that's where it's gonna go. And if, like I said, if the board could just reach out to the bar and go, could you guys just vote yay or nay, thumbs up and down? That way we can either tell clients definitively yes or no, because my answer now is, I don't know if I can help you with this. And if we do, my insurance carrier is gonna have a fit. So, like I said, just some kind of guidance before we have all these cases in a year of CPAs doing this or not doing it, or somebody thought they were doing it. It's like just a little proactiveness from like I said, the board reaching out to the bar to give us a determination before stuff hits the fan.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn the meeting. And our next meeting is Thursday, April 25th, 2024. And the time is now 11:57. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thanks so much.
Thank you
Bye.
all.
Happy New Year.
Okay.